What's good, everybody? NicMakesPlays here. I just went 18-2 with Nightfall in Masters rank. That's a 90% win rate record. I had a 10 win streak along the way. So for some backstory, I've hit rank 1 with Nightfall twice on 2 different seasons. I had the most playtime worldwide with Nightfall. So I want to make a guide that can make you guys play Nightfall as well as me, or whatever your goal is, and kind of just share my knowledge of the Nightfall deck because I do love it. And let's get into the deck, and I'll explain how to use every card, how to play the deck so you can be out there getting huge win streaks too. Alright, first card, 3 Fading Memories. So this card, pick a follower, create a ephemeral copy of it in hand. Very good as a cheap Nightfall activator. It costs 0, obviously, and you can play its first card in turn to activate Nightfall again. If you're low on Nightfall activators, you can use it on things like Runeterra Dustbringer to just have more. So the activator can give you an activator, it can give you an activator. You can use it on Doombeast later in the games to go for Burn Reach, stuff like that. You can even use it on an enemy Conchologist to refuel, even your own Crescent Guardian, stuff like that to push for damage. Very versatile card. I've even stolen the Captain Farron's and won the game with the decimates they give you, so pretty versatile card to have, but mostly it's cheap Nightfall activator. Lunar Dustbringer is one of the main cards you always, and I mean always, want a mulligan for. It's a Nightfall activator that gives you a Nightfall activator. Very strong, because it's two activators for 1. So use a Duskspell Dust. Next unit Nightfall, you play this round costs 1. So you don't want to waste these. You want to use these on separate turns, obviously. So you have a Nightfall activator for 2 different turns, not just 1. It's also very important because you can attack with turn 1, so you're already putting the pressure right away. So you kind of just starts the pressure, getting the tempo in your favor, and then also gives you activator for later. Next is Slayer Soldier. This is particularly good against aggro and control. Kind of weird because they're so different. But against aggro, they play like 2-1. Say they play Lead the Saboteur to attack or something like Precious Pet. You can play Slayer Soldier, becomes a 3/3, and then he blocks well. Against control, he has 3 health, so he's a very good Nightfall activator to start your offensive turns because they can't avalanche him, so have 3 health. So he's a Nightfall activator, which is really beefy stats. Could put in good pressure, stuff like that. So Stygian Onlooker, you can keep in the mulligan actually in certain hands and certain matchups. Puts on huge aggro pressure. So if your hand already has, say, like Lunar Dustbringer and Slayer Soldier, and you're going second, you can go, okay, turn 1 Lunar Dustbringer, turn 2 Slayer Soldier, and then Stygian Onlooker and push for like 1 billion damage. That's really strong. In matchups that can't really deal with him, well, let's say they don't have like avalanches, stuff like that, they don't have Vile Feast, you can push for damage. It's very good versus Pantheon Yuumi, because you're really good going wide against them. They kind of like condense all their buff spells into 1 unit, where you can just go wide, play a bunch of onlookers and stuff like that. I don't mulligan for this card. I actually don't keep it that often. But if your hand's already a lot of 1-drops, such as Slayer Soldier and Dustbringer, you can put the pressure on, considering you're going second, then you can keep it. Or if you already have like Dustbringer, Diana, Stygian, then that's also pretty good, because like you can do Diana to hook away a blocker, and then Lunar Dustbringer and Stygian poke for damage. You have board control and you push for huge damage. You're just controlling the game the rest of the game because you're ahead on life and board. So sometimes you keep it, sometimes you don't. But very good aggro pressure. Next card, probably the best card in the whole deck, honestly. I think this is just... Yeah, I think this shirt is the best card in the deck. Diana is insane. She was already really good, and they buffed her a few patches ago. So what she does is 2-mana 2/2 quick attack, Nightfall, or when another card activates Nightfall, give her Challenger this round. So she uses Challenger plus quick attack. So in the early game, you can just hook away the enemy blockers, get a free kill, and gives you board control. Kind of gives you leniency on how you attack, like how you do your offensive combats. And then she levels very easily, just 4 Nightfall effects. That's effortless in this deck. Even like on the Dusk is a Nightfall effect that gives you another one, so she's very easy to level. Her level 2 form's even better. It does the exact same thing, but she gains +2/+0 for every time you use a Nightfall effect. This is particularly strong because now she can kill bigger threats, such as like Victor, Udyr, Vi, like whatever they have, you can kill their bigger units. And when you level a Nocturne makes it so your whole board gets fearsome, and you can hook away with her the 1 fearsome unit they have, and then it lets you open up everything else to swing for game. So just very strong at removing units. You can even push for game herself with fearsome. She's pretty insane, actually. And then her chance spell is Pale Cascade, one of the better cards in the deck, so that also helps as well. Next, we play 2 Lunari Shadestalker. Just a 2-of, but it has some pretty good applications in the early game. One of the main applications is it's elusive, allows you to start chipping away at the enemy Nexus, poking them down for 2 damage. So it's alternative win con in the late game, kind of like poke away with this, drain with Doombeast, and just like finish them down to 0. Like you can go easily get them down from 8 to 0 with this and Doombeast. And in the early game, it helps you level Nocturne because she attacks directly with the elusive, can't really block her, she has elusive, and you're getting attacks in, make it very easy to level Nocturne on the Nocturne turns. She's a solid 2-of, and also good against opposing enemy elusives. Next we have Pale Cascade. I don't keep this in the mulligan against most decks, surprisingly, but it's very good versus control. I wanted to mention that against decks like Field of Rush, where they have a bunch of board clears, like the Avalanches, you want to have the Pale Cascade, because when they try and board clear you, you just, okay, they spend 4 mana for Avalanche, I'll use Pale Cascade in my Diana, and then she'll live and push for big damage. So very good. Also buffing the Stygian Onlookers to live through Vile Feast and push for damage. But outside of that, still very good card. You know, gives you refuel while also getting combat trade. You really want to milk your cards like this Unspeakable Horror to try and get card advantage, because this is one of the main ways you refuel card advantage. So keeping a unit alive through Mystic Shot is good. Getting combat trades, like you don't just want to +1 for no reason. You want to do it where it like nullifies one of their cards or like nets you a card out of it, and then you draw a card. So it's like a 2-for-1. Next is one of my favorite new additions to the deck, the Sky Shadows. This card is so good in this deck. Oh my god, I can't stress how good this card is. So when I'm summoned, refill 2 spell mana if you hold a Nightfall card, pretty much your whole deck's Nightfall cards. So it's just a 2 mana, a zero mana 2 mana card. That makes sense? A 2 mana card gives you your mana back, so and net costs 0, which gives you very, very big tempo on being ahead in mana, because you're paying nothing for this, and your opponent's still paying, you know, full price for their cards. And then this helps a lot because you have a lot of early game pressure. So to be ahead 2 mana in the early game lets you get an extra Pale Cascade in to get a favorable combat trade, lets you get an extra Unspeakable Horror in, stuff like that. Stalking Shadow is a bit expensive right now, so it's really nice to have extra mana to mitigate that. I regularly keep this in the mulligan. Just easy Nightfall Activator, easy blocker, and then the whole early and mid game you're just ahead on mana, and you have more options in your opponent because of this, and you can just command the game from there. So by the time they start stabilizing, you just already have such a big board or such a big lead, and they can't come back. So I love this card. I keep it in the mulligan. Great Nightfall Activator. Really brings that together in terms of mitigating the cost of Unspeakable Horror and Stalking Shadows, so you can use them to refuel and get a lot of card advantage. Alright, our next card is Unspeakable Horror. This card is one of the ways you get card advantage in this deck. So, drain 1 from anything, Nightfall, create a random Nightfall card in hand. You want to be using this on your opponent's units primarily. Units like Rock Hopper, really anything with 1 health that can net you an actual kill, net you actual card advantage. Because if you just ping their Nexus for 1, right? And you get a card, you don't really do anything, kind of paid mana just to like deal 1, which it doesn't really accomplish anything. But if you can do it on like a Rock Hopper or something, you kill a card and get a card. So it gives you a +1 in card advantage and helps you get ahead. It's very important to do this because it's strong with the Sky Shadows. Because then you're ahead on mana, you're ahead on board, you're ahead on card advantage, and then you just control the whole game from there. This deck's very tempo oriented. But in the late game, if you do need the burn reach, it is nice to just, you know, ping the Nexus, ping them down 1, finish them off for game with this and Doom Beast. That's fine. But in the early and mid game, you want to be trying to do this on their units because it does cost 2, so you want to try and get a kill with it to get the +1. Next is on to Dusk. This card can be a Nightfall Activator or be used for its Nightfall effect. Primarily, you want to use it for its Nightfall effect, like hold it to get the bonus, but you can also use an activator, so it kind of does both, which is nice. So, draw 1, Nightfall activate an ally's Nightfall effect, ignoring any targeted portions. So, this is very fast at leveling Diana with, because it gives you a Nightfall effect and it does another Nightfall effect. So it's 2 out of 4 for her proc, making her level very fast. Its best applications are using on Doom Beast to deal 2 drain and burn in the late game, or using on Nocturne to -1, -0 enemy board, either get a ton of favorable combat trades and then win next attack, or if he's leveled, you can make them all go under the fearsome attack threshold for a blocker, and then attack them per game. It's also very good in general, just you can use it on Diana to level her fast. If she's leveled, then she gets +2 attack. You can use it to make Crescent Guardian get permanent +2 attack as well. If Stygian Onlooker's swinging and they're not blocking him, then you can, okay, I'll do it on him, push for 2 more damage. So very versatile card. I usually don't keep it in the early game because it is a bit expensive for the first few turns. You kind of get your units and then draw into it later. But very, very strong card. Tons of applications, so very, very good. Next is Crescent Guardian. This card's also very strong versus control because the 3 health, again, being out of the Avalanche range, makes it say they commit more cards to it. Say they have to do like, okay, Avalanche and Vile Feast or something, and then you just Pale Cascade it. It stays alive. They wasted like 6 mana, and then you're good to go. Really easy to just put on the pressure by attacking with a unit that shifts, but also doesn't die. So he can retain himself on the field, making him able to stick for a Nocturne level up and stick for a huge swing with Nocturne as well. Another thing you can do is you can be like, okay, Nocturne, give an enemy vulnerable, and then you attack the vulnerable enemy with the Crescent Guardian because he chips for the overwhelm damage. So his health stats probably his best thing, but very important in general just because he can push for damage and stay alive and get multiple attacks in. Next is Doom Beast, one of your main late game win cons. 3 mana 3/2, drain 2 from Nexus. You do not want to see this card in the early game at all. It's very expensive for the early game. But in the mid-late game, when you're trying to chip away at them, this is a huge, huge win con. Pretty much your main win con besides Nocturne. What you can do is you play him, and then you can just start cloning him with like Fading Memories, onto Dust, Stalking Shadows get you 2 of him. So out of nowhere, you can make him go from 8 health to 0 by just spamming Doom Beast. This is one of your late game win cons. You kind of do this at the absolute, like after everything else, even after Nocturne, because Nocturne's best turns with swing are probably like 5-6. This is your win con past that. So very strong to loop if you need the burn reach later in the game. Next is Stalking Shadows. So it used to cost 2, it costs 3 now. It's still pretty good. I think you need it in this deck. I'm actually almost 100% certain you need it in this deck because you need the refuel. A lot of times in this deck, you just like play all your cards very fast, and then if you don't kill them, then you just run out of steam. But this card gives you the steam back. It's expensive. I guess change to 3 mana also is mitigated from running the Sky Shadows. So it's nice to give you multiple Doom Beasts, give you multiple anything. Like a lot of times I'll just play it and get like 2 Dustbringers. I'm like, okay, I'm selling Nightfall for the rest of the game. You can do this to get Lunar Shadestalker, go for elusively lethal, do the reach. Overall, very good. You want to keep this card against control. You keep it against like the Feel the Rush type stuff because they will clear your board and you will need the refuel or you run out of steam. So it is nice in those matchups. Every other matchup, you probably just mulligan it and then try and draw into it after you've used your original swarm of cards. And then last but not least, we have Nocturne. So grant an enemy vulnerable and give enemies -1/-0 this round. This card is probably the best card in the deck after Diana. People think Nocturne's weak, but in this deck, he's absolutely insane. Like, he's so strong. So what you do with him is, I don't like to play him until I know he's going to level on the swing. A lot of people like playing him early just to get a removal in, but if you try and, like, play him and then remove one of their units, it damages him, making him very easy to remove removal spells and stuff like that. I like to get, like, set up a big board and then play Nocturne. All these are -1/-0, so even if they can block you, if he's not leveled, they still get a bad combat trait because they're all weakened. And then you just can swing, like win 3 favorable combat trades, and then just command the game from there. But his level up should be pretty easy to do in this deck. You're shipping with Diana in the early game, Stygian Onlooker, Shadestalker, Crescent Guardian, stuff like that. And then his level up says, other allies have Fearsome. So what you do is you play Nocturne, you hook the enemy that can block Fearsome units, then you attack with everything, use your weakest unit to hook away the vulnerable unit, and then you push for like 15 plus damage. And you win the game, is the goal. And if they have 2 Fearsome units, you can kill one with Diana, and then get the other one, just hook it away, stuff like that. You could even trade. Like, a lot of times you could play this, and then they have a 4 health blocker, like it's a 4/4 or something. You can just play Stygian Onlooker. It's just a 1 mana combat trade, because it has 4 attack when it's Nightfall. And then you don't kill them, you get field control, and you win. Its other effect doesn't come too much. When you summon a unit, give enemies -1/-0. That happens in really grindy games. Again, I only really play Nocturne when the game's going to be closed with him, or attempt to close with him, so I don't get this effect too much because I kind of hold him onto him, but yeah, he has a bonus effect that is very hard to deal with if you get into a grindy game state. And then his chance spells Unspeakable Horror, which card we made like 3 of, so that's pretty good. Alright, so I've explained the deck to you guys. I guess one more time I'll explain that the mulligan is usually for another Dustbringer or Slayer Soldier. These are your 1-drops that you need to start putting the pressure on with, get field control, but also activate Nightfall. Diana is the main card you always want to mulligan for. This and Dustbringer, I guess, are the best two. Controls the early game, just honestly insane all the time. So the best card on the deck. You want to mulligan for Diana. Like, the deck gets way stronger when you get Diana. The Sky Shadows is good key if you get ahead on mana. Stygian Onlooker is good if your hand's already set and you already have like a pretty aggro-esque hand, or their matchup can't deal with it. And then against control matchups, you want to mulligan for Pale Cascade and Stalking Shadows, or at least keep them, because they let you refuel, and they are going to run you out of cards. So you need to be able to keep up. That's how I mulligan this deck. I know mulligan's very important. I'm going to showcase now how to play the deck. After I do how to play the deck, I'll show the cards I'm not playing and why. Well, I get asked all the time, like, why aren't you playing this card? What about this card? I'll do that after I show you how to play the deck and go through the games. All right, so let's get into the first games. And before we start our first game, if you guys like Nightfall, like Nocturne, like Diana, make sure you like and subscribe. Really trying to make good content for you guys. In the comments below what you think I can improve on, or how you like the video, and your thoughts. But here's the first game. All right. Playing against Riven Fizz. Interesting. All right. So we have a hand here that potentially push a lot of damage. Since we already have the Dustbringer, we can try on 2 to play Dustbringer Stygian, and then push for Huge Temple in the early game. They shouldn't have many ways to stop it. All right, this hand's actually amazing. Oh my god. For going second, so turn 1, we played another Dustbringer, okay? Turn 2, Slayer Soldier into Stygian Onlooker. We now have 9 damage being pushed. Pretty well diversified, help level Diana, and Nocturne by swinging with the Stygian. And then afterwards, we have the Sky Shadows. So we're able to get ahead on mana and ahead on board. Easily block here, don't mind that trade whatsoever. That trade's going to happen next turn anyway when he blocks, so totally cool with getting that trade. And if he played the Slayer Soldier, turn 1 he would have just passed, so same outcome. It's better to just have the Soldier rather than the Nara Dustbringer this turn. Alright. Maybe he'll have Pokey Stick for this, but even then, not a huge deal. We're still pushing for 3. Still ahead on mana. Alright. Attack with both. Not going to use the Fading Memories this turn. I'm going to save this as the Nightfall activator for later. You really want to map out your Nightfall activators. So hopefully we can draw like Unspeakable Horror here, or something to use the spell mana with. Stalking Shadows, not bad. Not bad at all. Alright. Let's play 6 again, actually. So we'll do this, gain mana. I don't want to lose any mana. But we don't have to use Stalking Shadows this turn for banking 3. That's fine. Yeah, we'll bank 3 this turn. Most likely gonna play Stalking Shadows to see what we get. Is that what we're gonna do? Yeah, we're gonna try and get Stygian on Looker being nice. Nice, okay. Exactly what we wanted. Pretty favorable game so far. The issue is we can't actually remove that, but we're pushing so much damage, I think it's worth it just to get Diana killed, to push wide with everything. She will level here, which is also nice. Alright. So, we'll lose Diana, but we're pushing for this 13 damage. And we have Doombeast here for the final 2, if it all goes through, that is. Of course, we can play more, but if he plays another blocker, we can just hook that with Diana. We need to keep Diana for later. Alright, he probably has Pokey Stick here for this, if I had to guess. Alright, nice. So it shouldn't have any heal in this deck. So in theory, this is lethal. I guess we'll try and lethal us before we lethal him, but we're at 20. He still has a lot of work to do, so we should be fine. Alright, he has 5 mana to work with what's going to be. Tons of cards in hand, but we're going to finish him off before that. And do you see how this all was made possible by the Sky Shadows? Sky Shadows is such a great addition to the deck. Otherwise, we'd have no chance at doing that, because we wouldn't have mana for the Stalking Shadows. We wouldn't have got the Onlookers, he'd be at, what, 8 more health? It would have been a completely different game. Okay. I see you. Let's try and get favorable combat trades here if we can. So, on the odd chance we can't kill him somehow, we're not behind on board. But I don't think he's going to be killing us here. That's what, double attack? Alright. So we'll play this here. Potentially lethal, but I don't think so. This is 23. Alright, we need to block with the max amount of health on the unit here. We'll kill that. We go to 20. He even Pale to draw a card here. We have guaranteed lethal if we just hold the Pale. I'm afraid they'll have like Decimate or something. I guess this does play around Decimate by holding it. So we'll just copy this for next turn. Block everything. That seems fine. We'd have to have Noxian Fervor. It's actually really close to killing us. Gee, that was terrifying. Next turn we'll use Pale, the Nightfall activator, and we play Doombeast. This beats Decimate, so we get first action. Oh wow, that's insane. So now if he even has like Fervor, we can beat him on the stack by using Elemental Dust from the Doombeast. Alright, GG. Alright, playing a Zycato. Interesting. So he's playing Auction, Zillion, Gnar. Probably another Papercraft deck. Try and go for lethal easily with the Auction or the Gnar. So maybe this is good versus Rockhopper, but I'm not entirely sure. I think to win this match would have put a lot of pressure on. So I'm going to keep the Stygian Onlooker, and then Sky Shadows is great later to refill. I might keep this, though, just because it is nice with the Sky Shadows. The reason I don't want to is that I think I need to get a 1-drop, like a Slayer Soldier or Dustbringer, to get on board right away. Diana's good, though. We get on to Dusk to use our mana with off Sky Shadows. That's nice. Alright. Right here. Do I just play this to play this? Next turn, I'm probably just going to play Crescent Guardian. Yeah, we just get ahead. Get ahead on mana. Because we can always do our Nightfalls through the Crescent Guardian. Alright, don't mind this at all. Get this straight in here. We're ahead on mana. He has extra card, but not a big deal. I think the name of the game for us is going to be trying to damage him and win before the extra card advantage will matter. So he's just passing here. Down to play Crescent Guardian. So we can on the Dusk it later. He might pass again, might play a unit. I think he might play a unit here. Okay, so he loses 1 mana. Again, more good tempo for us. So play Stalking. Pretty expensive, but gotta do what you gotta do. Hopefully get some Nightfall activators here. Okay. The 1-drops are good. Could also keep refueling mana. I think the 1-drops are good here. If he passes here, he loses mana again. That could be pretty good. I'm down for that. We can set up our board for Nocturne. Nar. Okay. We can do Nocturne to get that vulnerable and just kill it with this. I don't do that too often, but it's not a bad play. Three mana left over. Alright. Push for 5. Hopefully goes through. We have some decent refuel with the Nocturne's People Horror, the Onto Dust. Okay, so just Scrying Sands. I figured it'd be something like that. Keep this guy alive. He also gets the Pokey Sticks, the Struck. And he can also level it next turn. 5 Pokey Stick in Nexus, yep. Makes sense. He does take 5 though. That's what I really care about, is dealing 5. Dealing 5 is huge. Especially if that doesn't have healing. He probably runs away with negation and quicksand to stop our attacks, but once we do damage, it's likely permanent. Pretty good here. You can just kill Nocturne for free. The overall quick attack. We're gonna try and set up our champions now. Alright, Slayer Soldier, great blocker against Auction. He has buffs, we also have buffs. It's fine, can't do much about that. We're gonna get Diana on board this turn though. Just so we don't lose any mana. Puts us ahead on actions, so he has less blockers than we do, so every time we play a blocker we'll just be a little bit ahead. Healing is kind of annoying, but not a big deal. I care more about board than I care about drawing and stuff like that right now. Alright, good amount of mana to work with this turn. Good amount of mana to work with this turn. That's what we use the Ephemeral. So let's map it out. We have 1, 2, 3. We have all this plus an Onto Dusk or a Pale. Seems pretty good. And we're gonna level our Diana's turn as well. Okay. A lot of versatility in terms of our spells, whether we're gonna Pale or Onto Dusk. Now, Nar's Wallet could be kind of annoying on Diana, but it does cost 3, so it's not the end of the world if he does it. And these are both draw cards, so definitely have some refuel. If we could draw another Stalking Shadows later in this game, that'd be great. I'm a bit afraid of Quicksand. He likely has it, it's such a big hand. He's been refueling. But we'll see how this goes down. I can't make too many inferences with a hand that big. Especially we've been passing a lot, so like we haven't got too many reads to make. I'm just gonna assume he has, likely has Quicksand. I just had to guess. That's already vulnerable. We have the other one vulnerable too. Okay, level Diana. If Nocturne attacks, we level him as well. We need to have 3 Nightfall units attack, and we have 4 in the field. Crescent Guardian, Diana, City Onlooker, and Nocturne. If he doesn't do anything, and he's like holding Quicksand for attack, I'm just not going to have anything. Because I want to... Okay, yeah. So I want to push for max damage with the Fearsome. Yeah. Alright. So I put the units I want to keep alive the most in the back. So he's forced either to take huge damage or not get counter trades with these. So he might quicksand this. Mini Morph. I did not see that coming actually. Wow. It's actually one of the last cards I saw coming. So we lose Fearsome in all of our units now from that Mini Morph. But again, we're pretty far ahead right now. So I'm not like too concerned, really. So we can Pale here, which will not only keep us alive, but also push for more damage. That's pretty good. And we also have that, so from that one actually. Ondusk was potentially lethal here, but the reason I'm saving the Ondusk instead of getting the +4/+0 on this is because we can just draw a Doom Beast and do a Doom Beast later, or really anything. I feel like there's no reason to commit, because it could just, again, stop us with like scrying stands and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of putting him on having an answer, and I think we have a guaranteed win if we just hold this thing important. Alright. Oh god, it begins. Doesn't have a prank or anything.
Night flowers upon my blade.
Okay. About to. I guess before it makes our cards more expensive, I should do this, but I definitely don't want to make a Doom Beast. I guess we'll just pass. Oh god, another one. Yeah, I'm good with the wide board. We'll start pranking here, but the only card I'm really afraid of him getting, I guess, would be City Onlooker. Jeez, that's a lot of blockers. This would be another blocker for him, but it's not a big deal. Alright, start pranking. We're still one wider than him, which is nice. Definitely gonna hit this one. Don't think he cares about the Dust Petal. I don't want to lose too much mana here, so we'll draw a card. Hopefully just draw a Doom Beast. Fading. Again, we really need Doom Beast here. And we can't develop. Use too many punches for developing. I maybe should have kept the Pokey Stick, or sorry, the Pail, because that could have beaten the Pokey Stick. Guess we just have to do this now. Okay. So even more pranks, he has one more. I guess he could Brave Negation, but then we'll just play it again. I don't want to give him an action, I don't think. I think I just play this instead of attacking. Because if we attack, there's no way the attack's gonna go through. We could try and Dino Hook that, but I'm trying to give him very limited actions. Like, even if he wants to Pokestick on Nexus to try and draw, or Pokestick on anything to try and draw Brave Negation, I want to have the lowest odds of Brave Negation. So I don't want to give him the action to play that and try and draw into it. The hell is this card? Do anything. Poison Dart. Okay. It's fine. Doesn't have a prank. Just go ahead and do this. We could also just attack with everything here. I guess I could have held the Fading for one more second. It's the same thing here though, if he Pokesticks something, he can get Brave Negation, but we're wider by 2 units. So he shouldn't be able to Pokey and get right and negate Doom Beasts. Okay. It's fine. Yeah, I should have held the Fading for on combat, but it's the same thing, I guess. I just let him know I had Fading. Alright, GG's. Alright, last but not least, I'm going to go over the cards I chose not to play in this deck and why. The first card I don't play is the Flight. I get asked all the time why I don't play the Flight. So basically, it's a -1 in terms of tempo and mana. Because you pay one mana for a card, and if you attack with it, then it leaves the board, removing your board pressure in terms of tempo and your mana in terms of pressure. Because you paid 1 for a card, and then it's not there on the board anymore, right? So it puts you pretty far behind, and this deck's all about tempo, all about getting ahead. And does the opposite of that. Now, in the past, it was very strong with Stalk Shadows at 2 mana, because you could Stalking Shadows, get 2 of them, push for 4 elusive damage, then draw 2. Because they go back in the deck and then draw a card before the ephemeral will die. And that was very good. Zoe's also tier 1 in that meta, so it's a great play to just play it and then just sit there with it until the right time to swing and just keep kind of like block Zoe. So that's why I don't play the Flight. It's just not as good as it used to be, especially with how Sec wins nowadays is via tempo. Another card I don't play is Heavens Aligned. You pay 1 mana just to kind of get nothing out of it. I like to be ahead on board with my mana, and it's just a 1-for-1 in terms of card advantage. Like, Stalking Shadows at least gives you 2 cards for 1 to refuel with. This is just activate Nightfall, get a random card, lose 1 mana. So I'd rather just have cards like Fading Memories. So not that exclusive, you can run both, but I'd rather just have cards like Fading Memories in general that cost nothing, or other Nightfall activators like units that can put pressure on the board while they're activating Nightfall, rather than just giving you a card but making you lose the mana with no other effect or no other tempo in your favor. The next 3 cards I have are all finishers. They're Moonlight Affliction, Cygnus the Moonstalker, and the Atrocity. So first one's Moonlight Affliction. This card's pretty good because it silences 2 units this round, and Nightfall can't block, so it has 2 good effects. The silencing's very potent against decks like Pantheon that are meta right now, because it stops all Pantheon's keywords, stops the big buffs from the faded units. But as a finisher, you don't really run more than 1, maybe 2, because it can be really bricky in the early game. So you only have 1, right? So you play 1. Then you're not reliably going to see it. It's an unsearchable card. It's just a spell that you only see 1 every few games. And I feel like if I want a finisher in this deck, I like to be able to more reliably see it like a unit. Like Cygnus, this Moonstalker, you can actually get her off the Stalking Shadows. So that's very strong to see your finisher more reliably and get more benefit out of a 1-0. So I don't like this card mostly because it's a spell. And it's still decent. You could play it. But having 1-0 spell is just kind of unreliable. I want my deck to be really consistent. Now, Cygnus I actually do like. So Nightfall, give me an ally and loses this round. Because it's only a 1-of, you won't brick with it in the early game, but Stalking Shadows lets you access it more often. So you have a more reliable finisher in your deck. Now, the reason I don't play this right now is because Quicksand's everywhere, the tier 1 card, and this just gets destroyed by Quicksand. They just Quicksand this, and whenever you get vulnerable, and render him useless, so yeah, it's a bit weak in Quicksand metas, but usually I do play Cygnus the Moonstalker. And then Atrocity is kind of the same thing, where, well, not only does this lose to Quicksand, because I can -4, -0 if you're Atrocitying, it's also a spell, so it's unsearchable. Very risky, because you have to kill your own unit, and they can interact with it. And you don't always have good Atrocity targets. This is probably my least favorite of those 3 finishers. I would definitely play Moon Affliction or the Cygnus the Moonstalker before that. We are getting a new Nightfall card coming up that gives the whole board Overwhelm. I'll be playing 1 to 2 of those. That card seems pretty strong. I'm excited to make that the new finisher for Nightfall as well. And if you guys want to see me play this deck live on stream, I stream every day, 12 p.m. EST at twitch.tv/NicMakesPlays. So that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you guys enjoy Nightfall, Nocturne Diana, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys later this week. Peace.